So yeah, it's just one of them inevitable best discoveries of 2022 kind of videos to end the old year. And yeah, what more do I need to say? That's all it's about, really. Obviously, I'm going to try and keep to ones that are from 2022. Obviously, I've discovered many more from pre-2022, and yeah, that's it really. Self-explanatory. Right, folks, I'll get started. Obviously, it's just one of them list malarkey videos, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. And there is a couple of reviews of this, probably about not just mine, but everywhere. Anyway, April Aromatics Lost in Roses. This was a very kind of incredible rose fragrance. Now, there are the kind of sharper, greener, fresher elements to the rose, but as it develops, there's probably other things in it as well. Has this kind of powderiness about it, and a kind of a bit more of a jammy rose comes through, and just them soft kisses of the petals, you know, that kind of feeling like you're rolling in petals, the kind of a rose powder muskiness aroma around it. And there are other things in it, but it is mainly all about the roses. And it just, again, it's exquisite. It's all the elements of any roses, if you like. There's just tenderness, greenness, freshness, the kind of romance, the kind of thorny side of it all. It's an absolutely wonderful fragrance, and if you're a rose lover, especially along the more kind of natural side of things, then this is one that's well worth checking out. So yeah, I'm not going to waffle on too much. That's Lost in Roses from April Aromatics. Next is one from Michael Anthony Perfumes, and it's called Amber. They're a kind of small indie house based in the UK, and it's from my home county of Derbyshire, so yeah, obviously was a little excited about that. Anyway, this one is, as the name suggests, a kind of amber, and yeah, ambers are ambers, aren't they? But this one is very smoothly kind of done, with like the nice hints of spice, and it's more of a, is it woody spice? Not really. I'm pretty sure it has a, obviously you could tell I've not looked at the notes and stuff, but to me it has a kind of floral sweetness running through it, still with that golden kind of edge. And I'm pretty sure there's some vetiver giving it a nice dry goldenness in there. It's just a very nice fragrance. If you love your ambers and you want something a bit more delicate, it's not the right word, but not as heavy, not as like some ambers can be, more of a kind of elegant veil of a fragrance, an ambery fragrance, still with the warmth and the richness, then this is a good one to try. So that's Amber from Michael Anthony Perfumes. So next up is Myriad's Perfumes, and these are from our great Maya, Fab Trends Maya, and it's a collection of 3, and they're all perfumed by the great legendary wizard Miguel Matos. And my favourite, the one that really kind of captured my heart, is Pendragon's Heart, and that is a kind of, it's basically this tobacco, and it's got all the levels of tobacco. It's got I believe touches of leather, saffron in there, but it's mainly this beautiful tobacco. It's a bit boozy in some stages, it's very dark, it's very Miguel. It's got a little bit of, I mean, probably the leather and stuff, a little bit of that kind of naughty tinge, and sorry about that, you can guarantee there's always someone kicking about. But yeah, it's got, in addition to the lovely kind of tobacco, there's a bit of cypriol which gives it that kind of green anchor, that darkness. Whoa. There's obviously some musks. There's a kind of all-round peppery feel which adds a bit of heat, but that comes out more in the dry down. I'm not going to go way overboard too much into it. But yeah, there's lots of different elements to it, and kind of round it off with the typical Miguel style, if you ask me, is there's a lavender. Now that to me is the sweetness. It's not overbearing, it's not too much. Just that bit of sweetness, that bit of an aromatic feel to keep it lifted and being too heavy. Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant fragrance. So that's from Myriad Parfums, Pendragon's Heart. So yeah, next on the old list is one from Swedoft. Oh, was this 2022? Was it the end of last year? This is things when we can't really remember, innit? I'm gonna say it was this year, and that's Sweden. And it's a really quite unique fragrance, and it stands out. There's Swedoft have some really, really gorgeous fragrances, but Sweden represents Sweden and the Swedish folk. And I'm not going to go into too much detail as usual, am I? But it's woody, kind of a little bit of vetiver. It's like your Swedish alpine forest, but it doesn't stay there. It's not that predictable. It's got a nice cardamom pop at the beginning to give it a kind of freshness, but it's the raspberry and this little bit of saffron through it. The saffron to me kind of acts like a suede smooth leather. It's really bloody good, and it's just a really good unique raspberry fragrance. Just let that go past. Don't think you'll have smelled one like it before, and it's what it sets out to be. It's really welcoming, it's really kind of friendly, it packs a bit of a punch but not a huge one. It does make you think of wonderful Sweden. Anyway, that's Sweden from Swedoft. Next up is it's an oil, so you know, it's still a fragrance in it, and I think it deserved to go in this list. I've mentioned all of Jungle Oud's fragrances that I've tried have been quite exceptional, but this one's jasmine. It's obviously based around jasmine, and it's got all them elements of jasmine flower. It's got the sweetness, it's got the kind of little hint of the banana-ness, it's got the indolicness, it's got the kind of beautiful muskiness. It's got, you know, it's green, it's spring, summer jasmine. I mean, the jasmine doesn't grow near me, but it's exactly what you expect it to smell like. And it's got this really kind of, as it goes through it, as the oil opens up on you, it's very, the wind there, it's very sensual and it's very alluring, which jasmine is. And it's the reason jasmine's such a popular, loved flower, isn't it, and such a meaningful one, is it's just beautiful. It does have obviously other things in there, but that's not what it's about. I'm not going to go massively into detail. I think Jungle Oud are actually maybe UK based, and they obviously do the little oils and stuff. Anyway, it's not an advert, but it's just an exception. One of the best jasmines I've smelt ever, really, because it's pure jasmine. So that's jasmine from Jungle Oud. So the next one on the list is from another small British niche company called To The Fairest, and they're based in London. Quite a small one, lovely people, and they've had some really great fragrances out, and they don't really get enough love. But the one particular this year, was definitely this year, is Elan Vital, which is vital energy in Latin, I believe. Anyway, it's kind of, it's got like a smoky licorice in it, and the licorice runs quite through it. I think it's got artemisia, might have lavender, there's obviously a nice vetiver and patchouli running through it, and it's like this aromatic, dark, woody green fragrance. But the reason I love it so much, what it mainly reminds me of, is if we were all kids once, the chemists, the pharmacists used to have that kind of, this medicinal aromatic smell, like dark licorice and that kind of thing, and this one is pretty much that, and it's beautifully done. It's very elegant, it's not too heavy, but it carries a certain thing about it. It's just one of the best aromatic, kind of darker ones I've smelt this year. Absolutely beautiful. So from To The Fairest is Elan Vital. Next is another small niche kind of indie brand. You must have noticed a kind of common theme. They are definitely the most interesting and exciting ones you tend to smell. Not always, but generally. And it's one from One Way Bridge, and I tried about 3 new ones this year, and they're all really good. I'm not sure if this was this year or last year, but it's Dynasty, and this one I think is kind of based around a mum and memories of being like young and that, and I can completely see that. What this smells of to me is, basically going through it very quickly, is it opens up with smells like a damp fabric softener, like it's just come out of the washer, and then it slowly dries out and it gets very airy. Again, off the top of my head, I don't know the notes. Probably aldehydes and musks, like clean musks, and jasmine and stuff. And it's not a very complicated fragrance, but it's like the sheets start to dry out outside, and you get the fabric softener and the lovely airy florals of that, like on a summer's day. And it's basically what it is, and it's very, very comforting and it's just very lovely. Great fragrance. So that's Dynasty from One Way Bridge. Next up is from one of, to me personally, the most talented, gifted, underrated perfumers there is. Unbelievably unique and a great mind, and sometimes he does odes to people. It's Ricardo Ramos anyway. And Candy says, is it? Now I've tried a lot this year from Ricardo, and this one is up there. It's quite different from Ricardo. Ricardo does a lot of different things, but this one is especially beautiful. It's got this kind of, it's lily, it's warm flowers, it has a kind of botanical greenness about it, but there's also the lovely warmer notes of rosewood, wormwood and things like that, which give this kind of delicious depth about it. And it has that kind of vintage, you can imagine like a kind of classy time gone by thing about it. Everything is just so balanced to be just so beautiful. And obviously, apart from what I've read, I didn't know much about the person it's kind of based around, but when you do read bits, you do kind of get it. And it's such a beautiful ode, such a warm honour to this person. And you can imagine, again, I don't know much about this person, but it suits that era. Just an absolutely beautiful fragrance, and definitely deserves to be in this list. So that's Candy Says from Ricardo Ramos. Next up is from a massive brand, and that's, sorry, I'm kind of stuck in this mud, and that's Amouage Opus 3. I haven't really spoke too much about it yet, but yeah, I obviously hadn't tried any of the Opus fragrances. I'm not sure whether they're discontinued or whatever, but Amouage do not make it easy to try their fragrances, and their sample sets are, let's just call them very expensive. Let's just call a spade a spade. And again, not that easy to get hold of. And Amouage is one that you kind of want to try before you buy it anyway. Watched a few reviews, looked my cup of tea, so I bought it. And there have been a few more from the like Opus Library collection that I probably will have to blind buy, damn it. But this one anyway, they've just did it in a kind of gist. It's violet. It's violet, and there are many other facets to it, but it's a kind of quite a simplistic, elegant, easy Amouage. I don't know if that runs, obviously I've not tried any from the library apart from this one. Don't know if that's kind of the theme of this, but it's just a very beautiful violet. Now, it's not too powdery, it's not too chalky, it's not too sweet. Everything is kind of balanced, and you know I'm a big violet fan, and on my hunt for my Holy Grail violet. This didn't have the kind of dirty, naughty element in it that I'm looking for, but oh my god, it's a beautiful violet. So juicy and great. So that's Opus 3 from Amouage. Next up is from another fantastically small British indie niche brand, and that's Bordeaux, Amanda Beadle's brand, and this is Hibou. Okay, I'm not sure when this was released, but I tried it this year, so it counts. And it's just this beautiful, rich, elegant amber, but again, not your average amber. It's kind of very orangey, like a dark, juicy orange. The star anise, I think, probably is a little bit of licorice, and mixing with a rosewood gives that kind of, you know what I mean, if you're kind of familiar with them smells, that kind of sticky, anisey, dark sweetness. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Well, to me anyway. And that mixes all in with these woods, and the rosewood's obviously elegant and polished and smooth, and the orange. Now, orange I struggle with, but this is kind of the dark orange. It's like imagine a candied orange instead of a candied apple. It's that kind of, it's just beautiful, and it's warming, and it's got quite a lot of beautiful musks on me coming off, and I just really like it. And it's definitely one that suits miserable days like today's and will cheer you up. So that's Hibou from Bordeaux. And finally is a brand, more so than a specific fragrance, although I'd probably pick the musky one, Love Fest Burning Cherry, or but it's Chiali, yeah. Now, these were all gifted to me, to be kind of upfront and what have you. But now you watch a lot about Chiali. There's a lot, isn't there? And obviously, Mona is an influencer herself, and it's a kind of influency brand, but it's really massive, and it's available in high street shops and stuff like that, isn't it? And from the things you kind of watch, you go, they sound all right, but I'm not sure they're really going to be for me. Anyway, I won a giveaway, and I got to try a couple. Now, one of them, you can appreciate it exactly met the brief of what it was supposed to be. Wasn't really for me, so I was a bit, maybe it isn't a brand for me. Try the vanilla. The vanilla is wonderful, actually. It's vanilla, but it's very nicely done, and it's very cosy and warm, and it's meant for layering, and yeah, it works perfectly with layering. And then there was amber, invite amber only. Oh my, so good, so good. Like the tobacco-y one, and then I got sent a few bottles, and to be honest, I was just really impressed. The quality of them is definitely there. They're very nicely well made. They're not over the top. They're not too molecular. They're not too, you know what I mean. They're not overcomplicated. They're fairly safe, kind of what you'd expect on the high street, but with little bits of something about them. They're not boring, they're just very likeable and very kind of easy. Obviously they're all meant for layering, but yeah, I have done that a few times with someone doing over stuff, but obviously I wear them on their own. And then they just smell what you can't dislike them. It would be my main point about them. Some might not be to your taste, but they're not going to be ones that you kind of ugh. And to be fair, they're all fairly reasonably priced. They're not overcharging like a lot of stuff is nowadays, and for their price I think they're pretty good, and you get the little mini ones. And anyway, the last one I tried obviously was Love Fest Burning Cherry. It's really impressive. People kept saying again, but obviously before I sniffed it, it's like Lost Cherry. Not really. It's cherry, but it's it goes in completely its own many directions. It's kind of this cherry incense, bit of the roses, bit of raspberry keeping it juicy and stuff, and it's just not boring. And it is like you get that burning feel from it. So yeah, that's kind of the last best discoveries of 2022, and I just think Kiali are really good. Just wanted to say that. Not sponsored, hashtag. Alright, thanks, bye. So as you can see, yeah, this video has been in the making, squeezing in here and there, so it's a bit all over the shop, sorry about that. And there are of course many other great fragrances I discovered in 2022. They're just some of them, and some of my favourites. Anyway, don't need this to be a long waffly end of it, do I? What about yourselves? What's been your best discoveries of 2022? Discovered any new brands? Has anything surprised you? Alright, that's it. Thanks folks, and happy old new year. Bye.